213 AC Dunk, 21. Egg 13. 3 months on from White Walls, the road had nothing left to offer except more of itself. They had stopped at a bend in a nameless Riverlands river where the bank was flat and the shade was good. Meister had decided he was done for the morning. Lord the dog was in the shallows, nose down, investigating something important. He had followed them out of White Walls and never left. He had survived the whole business by hiding under a cart, which was smarter than most of what Dunk had done there. Dunk sat on a log with a thin-bladed knife and a pot of soft soap that was nearly finished. Egg sat on the ground between his feet, back straight, hands in his lap. Dunk lathered Egg's scalp, 3 weeks of silver-gold growth. Left alone, it would have given him away at 50 paces. Soaped short, it looked like nothing. People glanced and moved on. "Hold still," Dunk said. "I'm holding still," said Egg. "Your ear is moving," Dunk said. "My ear is attached to my head. The premise has an error," said Egg. "Stop talking," Dunk said. Egg stopped talking for about 4 seconds. "The soap is cold," Egg said. "Same soap it was a moment ago," said Dunk. "It was warmer a moment ago. That's an observation, not a complaint," Egg said. "It's a complaint," said Dunk. "It's an unfavorable observation," Egg said. Dunk pulled Egg's ear down with 2 fingers and worked the knife in short strokes along the side of his head. "We have," Egg said, voice shifting, "40 copper and 5 bronze, and the emergency copper you don't think I know about." "Hold still," Dunk said. "2 silver to enter a proper tourney," Dunk said. 10 silver for the winner. We need work first. Sure is a day's ride, large enough for a notice board. Someone there will know what's within a week of here," Egg said. "People talk in common rooms," Dunk said. "That's what they're for," Egg agreed. "Escort commissions, a lord with a problem, possibly attorney." "Possibly," Dunk said. He looked at the back of the boy's head. Silver stubble, soap, the river moving beyond. 3 months since White Walls, more road in them than coin. "Hold still, nearly done," Dunk said. Then they switched. Egg stood behind the log with the knife and the soap. Dunk sat with his chin up. The beard came in fast and dark, and Arlen had always said it would get him killed if someone got a grip on it in a fight. Probably an exaggeration. Probably. "Your jaw is doing the thing," said Egg. "I'm not doing anything," Dunk said. "You're tightening it the way you do when you've decided something. I can feel it through the blade." "Don't," said Egg. Dunk untightened his jaw. "Surer," he said. "Tomorrow, if we make reasonable time today," Egg said. "And if there's nothing there," Dunk said. "South to Evenfall, 2 more days, but it sits on the main trade road. More notice boards," Egg said. The knife moved along his jaw. "Hold your chin up." Dunk held his chin up. Lord came out of the shallows and shook water on both of them. Neither man moved. "There's also Lord Piper's steward," Egg said. "He posts commissions at Shurer twice a year. Wrong time of year, but if there's been trouble on the estate roads, he'd post outside the cycle." "How do you know about Lord Piper's steward?" Dunk asked. "I read the notices at the last 3 towns. You were looking at the horses," Egg said. "I was checking their feet," Dunk said. "You were looking at the horses." Egg cleaned the blade on the cloth in his belt. "Same steward, same schedule every spring. It's a pattern." The knife started on his neck. Dunk went still. "You think there'll be work," he said when it was safe. "I think Shurer is worth a day's ride. And whatever we find, it's better than sitting here counting the cheese," Egg said. "The cheese is nearly done," Dunk said. "Yes, that was my point," Egg said. Lord dropped a wet stick at Dunk's feet. Dunk threw it. Lord bounded after it, hit the shallows, turned around and came back with a different stick. "He brought you a worse stick," Egg said. "He chose it himself. That's different," Dunk said. Egg folded the cloth and put the knife away. "Sure, tomorrow." "Tomorrow," Dunk agreed. He stood and rolled his shoulders. The road ran west through Riverland scrub, green and difficult and not promising. 40 copper and 5 bronze. 1 aging horse. 1 dog with a stick he had selected himself. 1 13-year-old squire who read every notice board they passed. There were worse ways to be broke. A week at Shurer, and Dunk had not found work. He had checked the notice board every morning. He had talked to the innkeeper, the stableman, 2 merchants, a farmer who wanted his fence mended, and a chandler's apprentice who confirmed there was nothing to be had. The Karen Steward's commission had not materialized. The notice board stayed bare. It was Egg who found it. He came back from the board on the 5th morning, walking slightly faster than usual. "There's a tourney," Egg said. He held out a notice copied in the rough hand of a public scribe. 10 days, a village called Crabwater, a day's ride east. Lord Viprin's youngest son is hosting it. Small lists, a melee. Prize is 200 silver stags. Dunk took the notice. Read it again." Entry fee, he said. 50 silver stags. Egg's voice was level, which we don't have. Dunk handed it back. 40 copper and 5 bronze and a horse and a dog and a 13-year-old prince holding a piece of parchment with 200 silver stags on it. We need 50 silver stags, Egg said. I know how to subtract, Dunk said. In 10 days, Egg said. A proper tourney, a real field, a day's ride. Put it away, he said. We'll find something. Egg folded it carefully inside his coat. On the 7th evening they went into the tavern because it was raining and the camp was wet. They sat near the back wall and didn't order anything. Egg arranged his face into something neutral. Lord lay under the table with his chin on Dunk's boot. Low beams, tallow candles, wet wool, and old sourness. 6 men at the bar, a table of merchants by the fire. In the far corner a quiet man nursed a cup he hadn't finished for an hour. 2 men flanked him, both with swords worn like tools. They watched the room. Dunk was thinking about the fence mending, 3 pennies. He'd been too proud to take it. The 2 men at the bar had been drinking long enough that the room had quietly arranged itself around them. One was thick through the shoulders with the red face of a man who'd been at it since midday. The other was leaner, quieter, nursing his cup with patience. Dunk saw it before Egg did, the lean man's hand moving into the thick man's coat, coming out with silver. Egg saw it a beat later. Don't, Dunk said. He just took his. Egg turned in his seat and said, loudly and clearly, that man just took silver from your coat. The thick man looked down, checked his pocket, looked up at the lean man with an expression that went through several stages very quickly and arrived somewhere final. He hit him in the face. The lean man didn't go down. He came back immediately, both hands, and the thick man's head snapped back, and then they were both hitting each other at the bar with the particular commitment of men who had forgotten everything else. Dunk stood up. He put his hand on the shoulder of the man doing the hitting. That's enough. The thick man looked up, split lip, unfocused eyes. He looked at Dunk. He looked at the hand on his attacker's shoulder. Then he punched Dunk in the eye. Not a good punch. It landed because they were close. It landed on Dunk's left eye. Dunk stepped back, steadied himself on the nearest table, stood still a moment. Both men were looking at him. Right, Dunk said. Dunk moved on the thick man while he was still processing. 2 steps and his shoulder hit the man full in the chest. The man left the floor briefly and came down across the bar. He folded over it, wind gone. The lean man swung a haymaker. Dunk stepped inside it, got his forearm against the man's chest and drove. The man sat down against the wall and stayed there. The thick man had found a chair somewhere. The chair, Egg shouted. He swung it. Dunk turned too late. He got his arm up and took most of it, but most wasn't all. The remainder caught him across the upper back and splintered. He went forward 2 steps he hadn't chosen. His foot found the wrong patch of floor, and he went down. The boards came up fast, his palms, then his knee, sawdust and spilled ale and cold wood. Both men arrived at the same conclusion at once, boots in his ribs, then again. A kick meant for his head caught his shoulder. Lord was barking under the table. That's enough of that. He got up. Not fast, hands on the boards, push, knee up, other foot. He rose to full height with pieces of the chair around his feet and both men stepped back. Yes, Egg said from near the back wall, louder than he probably intended. The thick man swung. Dunk caught his arm at the wrist, put his other hand below the elbow and twisted. The man went with it or something broke. Dunk released and hit him twice in the body, short and heavy. The man's legs folded. The lean man came in low, going for Dunk's legs. Dunk dropped his weight, got both hands on the man's shoulders and put him into the floor. The man lay still. He turned his head after a moment and stared at the ceiling. The room was quiet. The merchants had stopped eating. The barman had gone somewhere low behind the bar. Dunk stood in the middle of it and breathed. In the far corner, the quiet man had not moved. Both cups at the bar still had ale in them. Dunk picked them up and drank both, standing, because he hadn't had a drink in a week and he had earned them. He set the cups down. The barman peered over the bar. Dunk looked at him. The barman went back down. Come on, Dunk said. Egg was already at the door. Lord fell in at Dunk's heel.